Starting a business or getting a job should be attainable for all. Today is an important day, not just for our state, but for all of us.
I want to talk about a simple truth that makes a big difference. It sounds obvious, but here it is. Good is always good, and bad is always bad. It's simple, but not everyone agrees with it, at least not in practice.
I am behind SB 4130 for the same reasons I always have been, because I believe that everyone deserves the chance to work. When SB 4130 passes, local businesses will get the support they need.
It's easy to feel that if we're making good things happen for God, it's okay to use a few tricks. Maybe we attack the character of those we disagree with. They're bad apples anyway. Or maybe we ignore evidence that disagrees with our perspective. It's probably not true anyway. Or maybe we simply lie to get results, thinking it's justified because the situation is so desperate.
And big employers will be drawn into our cities like never before. Like never before. Our workforce is ready. We just need to bring back the jobs.
But didn't the prophets get angry? Didn't Jesus go after the money changers? It's true. The Bible has some sharp words for those who are on bad paths. But there's an important difference. Those words speak out against the darkness. They don't use darkness to achieve results.
Because the people are demanding it. The people know that we need more good jobs and that we need to get the bureaucracy out of the way. This bill strengthens the process.
The temptation to use dangerous means can come when we feel too weak to make things go the way we want. Let's say we're against something a politician stands for. We could describe how the policy hurts us or others, but words alone feel powerless. What if others disagree with me, or what if my words get lost in the crowd? And so maybe we try to dig up a little dirt on the politician too. Maybe we pick and choose facts from that person's life to paint him or her in the worst possible light. That person's a scoundrel anyway. I'm just helping others realize it. And then sometimes it works. There's a special rush in a victory for God, won with a little sneakiness and guile. It's the thrill of power, fused with a sense of righteousness. But when that happens, we have to wonder, whose victory have we really won? Remember, good is always good, and bad is always bad. Sometimes we really want bad to be good, but it simply doesn't work. Ever.
But most importantly, SB 4130 is a promise to all of you.
Have you ever heard the phrase, "a house divided cannot stand"? A lot of times we use those words to mean that we should all agree, but that's not what Jesus meant when he said it. Jesus said those words when some religious leaders saw him casting out demons, and they said he must have done it by the power of Satan. But Jesus said that's impossible, because the Spirit of God fights the spirit of the devil. The spirit of the devil can't fight itself. In other words, God's kingdom comes when we act in God's Spirit. And that's it. And then Jesus used a metaphor you may also have heard, a tree. He said that if you make a good tree, good fruit comes from it. And if you make a bad tree, bad fruit comes from it. Good comes from good, and bad comes from bad. We all know the fruits that come from God's tree: love, joy, patience, gentleness, self-control. The question is, when we're trying to get what we want, are all of these things evident? It's an important question because if they're not, then we're not planting God's seed. And that matters because whether in personal relationships or world politics, God's will is accomplished when we follow God, not when we use whatever means we can to get the job done on our own. That's hard for all of us. It takes real faith to let God act and to play second fiddle. But there's a remarkable phrase in the Bible we sometimes forget. The Apostle Paul said it. He said, "When I am weak, then I am strong." We might take these words to mean that we're actually weak, but that we have some kind of mysterious inner strength. But when Paul wrote these words, I think he meant that he was actually strong because God was at work. When we follow the path that God has for us, we might not get the thrill of instant power, but we're in place to witness more powerful things than we can imagine. And we make real progress for God's kingdom.
On the right path.
Good is always good, and bad is always bad. God has given us specific instructions. Be humble, kind, loving, truthful, and generous. We think of these things as niceties for greeting cards, but really, they're weapons. They're weapons against everything that's bad in the world, because when we use them, God uses us. Imagine what's possible when Christians all over set aside the tools of darkness and reflect God's light. Then, we are a house truly united, and we will stand.